Good evening, I'm Kevin Christopher.
And I'm Haley Harmon, in tonight for Nancy Cox. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6. We begin with an update about a developing story we've been following today here in town.
Kentuckians working for the company Ashland Incorporated got some bad news earlier today. The company announced it's moving one Kentucky office and closing another one.
Let's go to LEX 18's Connor McHugh with the latest developments in this story.
Whether here off Harrodsburg Road or up north in Covington, Ashland Inc. has played a major role in Kentucky's business community for many years. Now a new restructuring plan could change things and put some jobs at risk. Today, the company announced plans to close its Lexington office and downsize its corporate headquarters in Covington. By January 1st, 2020, the company also plans to relocate that headquarters to Wilmington, Delaware. A company spokesperson says that office currently employs 48 people. With these plans, some jobs will be eliminated, some workers will work remotely, and others will be relocated to Wilmington or Dublin, Ohio. Same goes for the 58 people located in the Lexington office off Harrodsburg Road. In total, 15 people will remain for a time in Covington. This news comes just over a year after Ashland Inc. announced a corporate restructuring, separating with Valvoline and moving away from its campus off Blazer Drive. The company says it held meetings with employees at both sites today. It plans to keep its manufacturing plant in Calvert City, Kentucky, which employs more than 500 people. Covering the news in Lexington from the LEX 18 Mobile Newsroom, back to you.
Big storms late last night and early this morning. Things are much quieter right now. We are firmly ensconced in the warm sector, which if you've been outside, you know it's warm and it's humid. It's also pretty breezy out there. Most of our rain has ended. We are looking at maybe one shower trying to get going there in Lee County. I mean, it's in the embryonic stage at this point, but boy, those storms earlier today, they dumped a bucket load of rain. See some of the numbers here, and these come off the Kentucky Mesonet, kymesonet.org. Carlisle, 2.2. You've got 2.6 out of Frankfort. I mean, that's a lot of water, kids. Just under an inch came out of Winchester. You see some of the pockets there in Bourbon and parts of Fayette County where we had heavy rainfall totals. We'll look at those in the main weather segment as well. You look at, say, Owensville, 2.2 inches of rain. That's a lot of water. But then, folks, a few miles away, not nearly as much. What happens this evening? By late this evening, we should begin to see new showers and thunderstorms reforming. Any one of those can drop a bucket load of water of its own. Those will continue into the morning and early afternoon tomorrow as well. Change, it's slow. We'll talk about when in a couple of minutes.
All right, Bill, we'll see you then.
Well, the cleanup after a storm continues for people in Powell County.
Yeah, hundreds lost power yesterday as trees buckled under the powerful winds. Conroy DeLucia has the details in the big story at 6.
Rained so hard you couldn't hear the wind.
Robert Imhoff sat inside his home in Stanton when yesterday's storm blew through.
We've had so many go through here recently that it's almost become the norm.
But he was surprised to see tree branches scattered on his property and this, a giant tree split in half.
I was thankful nobody was hurt. I was thankful that the road wasn't blocked.
I thought because of this I wouldn't have a home when I got up on the creek.
About a mile away on Connell Road in Stanton, Norma Lee Rogers Wells was thankful too.
With Jeremiah's cats down there, we thought the worst. So when we got on down here and seen the cats was okay and the house wasn't hit, then I felt better.
The tree fell right where her grandmother's trailer once sat, and now there's plenty of work to do. Wells says the next step is cleanup. They're going to take a chainsaw to this tree, cut it up, and get it off this lawn. Then they're going to see how much damage was done to that shed. Wells was worried she would not even have a home to return to, but it was left untouched. With older trees on the property, though, now the concern is what another storm could do.
Oh yeah, scared to death of them. Yes, sir. Scared to death of them.
County officials say there were widespread power outages, but no reported injuries. Covering the news in Powell County, Conroy DeLucia, LEX 18 News.
This morning's storm wasn't quite as powerful as those which passed through the Commonwealth 10 days ago, but it still left a mark. In Moorhead, this morning's heavy rain resulted in significant storm damage for at least one family, as that huge tree came crashing right through their mobile home with 2 people inside.
I went outside and looked, and lo and behold, a tree came down, and it was terrible. My grandson, he was inside. It scared him to death. And when it happened, the mobile home started shaking, and I didn't know what was happening.
Bradley says his son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren will stay with him until things are cleaned up.
Keep track of the forecast anytime on our website, LEX18.com. And if you haven't done so already, download our free LEX18 Storm Tracker weather app. It's a great way to stay up to date on the forecast on the go as well. Well, a Lexington woman knew something was up when strangers kept dropping by her home.
Haley, turns out a fake Craigslist ad showed her cabin in the country was available for rent. Lee Searcy has the story.
Nestled in the hills of Fayette County is Kathy Smith's beautiful log cabin that's on the market. But not everyone who has stopped by to see it wants to buy it.
They just walked right up on our porch.
Those visitors saw this ad on Craigslist, boasting the 3-bedroom cabin with scenic views available for rent for only $744 a month. Total move-in costs $1,600, money they can wire to the fictitious owner.
But when they contact him, the scary part is he gives them our address. And he tells them to come by our house.
Smith has had so many people come by, she put up this not for rent sign and parked her husband's truck in the driveway to block visitors. She's reported the fake ad repeatedly to Craigslist to no avail. I inquired about the rental and received this email stating the owner's leaving town and will be away 2 to 3 years or more. So I called the person. Are you the owner?
Yeah, I'm the house.
The home is not up for rent. Why are you saying it's for rent?
Not a fight.
Why are you scamming people? This owner wants to know why you're scamming her.
He has free reign to put our house out wherever he wants to and change it and do whatever he wants to, and we have no way to protect ourselves.
Sadly, this is common, but victims like Smith can fight back by reporting it to the Kentucky Attorney General's office.
And I really want people to know that we don't want them to be scammed.
Right.
We don't want anybody to be harmed by somebody, using our house as a picture to take advantage of somebody.
Covering the news in Lexington, Lee Searcy, LEX18 News.
Go to LEX18.com to check out tips and who to call if you find yourself in a similar predicament. Somerset police are trying to identify 2 men accused of a recent burglary.
But it wasn't just any burglary. These men stole from students when they broke into Somerset High School. Tiffany Jackson has the story.
Summer construction may have made things easier for 2 men to break into Somerset High School.
I'm thinking they came through the cafeteria area, and because of constructions, a couple of those cameras were down.
Unlucky for them, other security cameras were working around the school.
And it was in the dark, and the cameras are pretty good in the dark, but when they went to load the stuff, they flipped the lights on, and so I got really good video as they came right under the camera.
The thieves used one of the construction crew's wheelbarrows to carry out the stolen items.
We know that they took a laptop, an iPad, some paraphernalia from the basketball team, shorts, team shoes, socks, those type of things, 2 TVs, some miscellaneous stuff from the office, batteries.
But with all the construction, Principal Charlie Brock says they likely won't know everything that was taken until the start of the school year in 2 weeks. He's hoping someone will recognize these thieves and help bring them to justice for his students.
They didn't steal from a school, they stole from kids. And I'm sure they didn't think about it that way, or if they did, they obviously didn't care. But, I mean, don't take from kids.
Covering the news in Pulaski County, Tiffany Jackson, LEX18 News.
Now, the thieves also took one of the construction crew's pickup trucks, but it was found the next day at Shopville Elementary School. If you recognize the thieves in the surveillance footage, you're asked to call Somerset Police.
Health industry leaders will spend the next few months keeping a close eye on the spread of hepatitis A in Kentucky, especially in jails. That's because where drug users get arrested, they're locked up in close quarters with others. And as LEX18's Carolina Buchek reports, health leaders say that's the perfect place for hepatitis A to spread.
When it comes to Kentucky's current hepatitis A outbreak, there's good and bad news. The good news is in Louisville, where health leaders say this outbreak started.
We've had the most cases there. Their numbers are now going down.
But everywhere else in Kentucky, that's not the case.
The bad news is a lot of cases were exported out of Louisville to other counties through jail transfers, through substance abuse treatment program transfers, things like that.
Today, state health leaders met to discuss ways to prevent the spread of hepatitis A. So far, there hasn't been any major outbreak in any of the local jails, but the Center for Disease control is keeping an eye on them because it could happen, especially since many drug users end up in jail not knowing they have the disease.
Hepatitis A, unfortunately, has a very long incubation period. It's 15 to 50 days, so you can have someone who's infected who doesn't get sick for a while, so they could be in jail when they finally get sick, and then you've got that situation where you could have rapid spread within a jail population or a prison population.
And because health experts think we'll likely see more outbreaks in the next few months, they recommend people, especially those at risk, to get the hepatitis A vaccine. Covering the news, Carolina Buchek, LEX 18 News.
A family still reeling from the loss of their son has found a way to give back in his memory.
How they're making a difference with Burgers from Brad is next on LEX 18 News at 6.